I pray that you always be around me to fulfill your purpose in my life. So I will give you all of me, 'cause everything I have, I owe it to you. Everything I do it for you. And everything I have, I owe it to you. Everything I do it for you. And everything I have, I owe it to you. Everything I do it for you. And everything I have, I owe it to you. Everything I do it for you. Everything I have, I owe it to you. Everything I do it for you. So help me.
Hope Channel, changing lives.
Good evening. It's another exciting episode of Real Talk, and today I can't tell you how excited I am to bring you this episode because I believe it's a special one that all of us will learn from. You know how we get our stories from you guys out there through our WhatsApp number and our email address. We are still fighting this coronavirus pandemic, so I would say that you should wash your hands with soap and the running water. You should wear your mask. Now that it is compulsory or mandatory, you have no choice. Please do so, and then keep your distance, at least a meter from people. We are all trying to fight this and trying to stay safe. So today's episode, like I mentioned, is a very, very interesting one. I can't wait for you to see the story. I have in the studio with me amazing panelists, and then I have 4 others joining me virtually who are all coming to share their opinion on today's episode. Let me just go straight ahead and introduce them to you. In the studio with me, I have Mrs. Adobianai. Welcome to the studio once again. It's been a while.
Really?
Yeah, it has. I haven't seen
I
you.
thought I've been frequenting here.
No, I don't think so. I think the only time I saw you was virtually during this whole pandemic. That's been 3 months.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
There's a gentleman. Is he? Oh yes. There's a man that
Students.
I still teach online.
Oh, okay.
It's only the level 400s who are
Right.
coming. They are finishing, so
Yeah.
we deal with their projects and all that.
But how has it been during this whole coronavirus pandemic?
Well, it taught me another part, another side of life.
Right.
I mean, I thought I was virtual, but I became much more virtual during the pandemic. I mean, all my lectures went virtual, and I think I enjoyed that bit of work, except that it's not very comfortable. I mean, all the time. But sometimes you find the comfort of not having to drive to the classroom, but sit at home and then teach.
And then teach.
Yeah.
This is what lectures brought to you in the comfort of your home, right?
Exactly.
So you guys, I'm introducing our panelists from home to you. They are joining us virtually, and today I have people from all over the country. So I'd like to introduce to you people who are joining us from home, which is Kofi Aheniyabwa. He's joining me all the way from Sunyani. He is joining me, and he's a member of the Agape SDA Church. Kofi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Because of course we can't complain much.
Right.
God has been good to all of us.
Right, right. I am so happy to have you on the show today, all the way from Sunyani. I hope everybody in Sunyani is watching us live. We are streaming live on YouTube, which is Hope Channel Ghana, so you can watch us there. I also have Mrs. Abuajo Abano. She is also coming all the way from Sunyani, Agape SDA Church. Mrs. Bano, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Evie.
How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing very
How is everybody in Sunyani?
well, by God's grace. I hope you are well too.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. And then the
Everyone
next person I
well.
have
In
is
fact, Sunyani is
Mrs.
treating as well. For now, it's not recorded a lot of cases of COVID. So we can say we are quite.
Okay, Mrs. Bano
Thank
is
you.
breaking up. You're welcome, you're welcome. Okay, then Mrs. Gifty Kanta, all the way from Takoradi. Tadi, where I was born, Kwesimin team. She's coming all the way from Kwesimin team SDA Church. Mrs. Bano, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes.
Hello.
How is everybody in Kumasi? Hey, sorry, Takoradi.
Takade is fine.
Let me practice my fancy with you. It's your turn then.
Oh, me woye, papa.
Natadi ufwe.
Saudi for you now, won't be papa.
Catch on the Michao nine and my for me, Baba Sharon Sissy, on chair.
I'll yet see a bit.
Okay, and last definitely not least is Mr. Daniel Nai, Adobia's husband. She doesn't want me to say, but I think everybody knows. Daniel, welcome to the show once again.
Thank you very much, Evie. It's glad to be on the show once again.
I hope your week has been great.
Yes, by God's grace, it's going well.
Wonderful, thank God. So you guys, you've met my panelists in the studio, and those joining us virtually. We'll take a look at our story right after this break. Do not go anywhere. My name remains Evie. This is Real Talk. We'll be right back.
Dear Real Talk, I am a young pastor who has been married for just 8 months to a banker. Our marriage is young, but things have taken a bad turn for us. My wife earns more than me and has been since we got together. She wakes up. I do not believe in divorce, but this marriage is draining me. Please help me. I will be listening to you and your panelist.
Welcome back. I am sure you all have heard our story right now. I told you it was an interesting one. A whole man of God. Something is happening. There's fire on the mountain. He needs help. And he says he's listening to all of us. I don't think I'm qualified to give him any advice, but that's why I have my panelists here with me. You guys are qualified. You know what you're saying. You know what you're about. So let me just start. Adubia, your general take on the story. When you heard the story right now, what came to mind?
I actually laughed.
You laughed. Why? Why?
It's not a funny one, but I laughed, and I was just imagining what he was going through. Since there's this adage everywhere that says that the way to a man's heart is his stomach.
His stomach,
so
right?
if the stomach is really not being satisfied,
What is then being satisfied?
I don't know how he would be feeling. It's a sad one. It's very sad. I mean, I wouldn't wish for anyone to go through that. So I think it's a sad one.
Right. Doctor?
Yes, my initial impression was that there is a fundamental issue in the marriage, different from what we are hearing.
Okay.
I mean, was it so? I started asking questions. Was it so on the first day of marriage? Was it so during the first week, first month? Was it so? If it was so, then it means that it's something that he knew before going into.
Right.
Even if it wasn't so, and it's something that came up later on, then my idea is that, didn't he see it ahead of time? Because by all means, you don't, marry someone on seeing the person on day one.
Right.
You knew the person
Yeah.
before. What did you see? So there are issues on finances, issues having to do with family, issues having to do with, a whole lot. So the marriage itself has a fundamental problem.
Right.
And I just hope that we are able to help him.
Help him out. Okay. Guys, Gifty, if you can hear me, what came to mind when you heard this story? Your initial thoughts?
Okay, so when I heard a story, I could just see frustration everywhere. It's like the couple are frustrated because obviously whatever the woman was expecting before she entered into the marriage, she's now being faced with realities, and her expectations aren't being met with her realities, and there's a gap. So what fills in? Anger, frustration, disappointment, and everything. And it's like the man also here is not able to bring out about his manly character. So it's like he's frustrated, the wife is frustrated, the wife is exhibiting some characters that is not expected from a wife, and nobody's talking about it. And obviously none of them have any good way of resolving issues or conflicts in marriage. So they're all frustrated.
Right, they are all frustrated. This coming from Gifty. Mrs. Abajua, what do you think is making this woman behave this way as a married woman? What is going on here? What is possibly going on that she's acting this way?
There's a lot going on. In fact, there's a lot going on. When I read the story, I was like, I think there's lack of effective communication in the marriage. That's my take on the whole story. I believe that there's something we are not able to communicate to each other very well.
Right.
There's lack of effective communication. Yes, there's something they need to really talk about. They are not really talking much in the marriage.
So you think they need to have more communication? Okay.
Yes, effective
Kofi?
communication.
Yeah. Kofi, tell me, what's going through your mind? Why is this woman behaving this way?
As I read the whole story, I saw two people who were not ready to enter into such an institution, and I would agree with Mrs. Bano when she says that they lack communication. I think the fundamental or the basics is communication, and more to that, they as a couple were not ready, and they get jammed into that institution for marriage, and there's more to it. We the single ones can't talk much about that, but I believe that is the main foundation. They were not ready. They were not ready to enter into that institution. They were not psyched up. If they were psyched up, all these issues that were coming up wouldn't have come up if they were indeed ready for marriage.
Daniel, let me hear your take.
Okay, I think personally, I found it very interesting, and also realized that I may say that I thought that there's a lot more to the story that was revealed to us, and I feel like there's something that is missing in there, because I don't understand the reason why this should be at the early stage of the marriage, and I realized that they didn't have a conversation or a formal communication in the beginning, as everybody is saying. I think that there's something that's lacking somewhere that we need to find out. There's a root cause, as the counselor is saying, that we need to really dissect and really find out, what the problem is, because it just this cannot just happen at the very early stage of the marriage like that,
Right. Pastor.
Yes.
Doctor, all of your titles. But do you think money is the reason here? Do you think it's the man being less financial?
May or may not be the reason.
Okay.
All right. I mean, if there is respect for my husband or for my wife, whether I have more money than him or not doesn't matter at all.
Maybe she feels like every day me I'm the one cooking. Okay, he says he cooks sometimes.
Yeah, he cooks. He says he cooks only when he has money.
Right.
All right. And so the question is even what are the rules in the home? You know. So I mean, whether I have money or not, respect for my spouse, either husband or wife, is paramount in a marriage.
Right.
So it shouldn't be about money. Now, would her attitude toward him change if he begins earning more than her, or in case she loses her job and he begins to more or less fend for the family?
Right.
Would her attitude change? If the attitude will change, then we can say that, okay, it is the money that is needed. But it doesn't seem as though it's going to change, if even it changes. For me, I think that there is an issue that has to do with a motivation behind what she does, but it definitely isn't money.
Right. Don't think she respects him too.
Yeah, I think that something that is missing here is respect.
Right.
And the loss of respect can actually come from a number of factors. One of them can be the money.
Okay.
The fact that you are the man and you don't bring anything home. I provide. Respect is not in that
Respect
marriage.
is not in the marriage. Adubia,
Yes.
being a married woman, what's at all make you even do this in the first place? Do you think money can push women?
I think I agree with Pastor because it's not about money, it's about the lack of respect. And I'm saying this because the lady, I'm assuming she already knew that her husband to be really doesn't earn so much.
Yeah, she earned more than him.
Exactly. So from day one, you kind of had an idea of how the whole thing is going to play out. So you should have been ready for it. That my husband doesn't earn so much. I earn more than he does. So what am I bringing to the table? What am I doing? Or what am I going to do if we find ourselves in a very difficult situation? Okay, so my husband earns 1,000 cedis and I earn 5,000 cedis. There should have been an agreement that, okay, if that's the case, I'm going to support you with, you bring 500 cedis, I'll bring 1,000 cedis, and 1,005 should be okay for us, you know, because they are just two.
Right.
So like Pastor said, the foundation of the whole relationship is actually questionable because there are a whole lot of things that needed to be looked at the beginning, not even months after they got married. I think at the dating stage, that's where a lot of things should have been looked out. And with the pastor to you should have spotted certain things.
Right.
That
red signs.
Exactly, you understand, because well, yes, there are certain things that the woman would not do for you to see. For example, come to your house and come and cook for you and all this. So you might not know that bit of it. But definitely when you're having a conversation with the person, you know how the person is and how the person behaves. So it would definitely reflect in marriage. So I think the problem had to do with the dating stage.
Okay.
Mrs., you talked about she probably knew. The question is, did she know his income even before they got married?
Well,
now, you see, one cause of conflict in marriages is unmet expectations. Maybe I know there's a pastor, big man, and pastors are always seen to be big people. You know.
The story, yes, that's what
in the story
said.
He said it has been so from the very beginning.
Yes,
but the question is, did she know about his income?
Okay.
She probably didn't know, got in and realized that, oh my goodness, the man doesn't have money.
But if you look at the story, he's trying to say that it's been like that.
It's been like that.
So it's not
she
a problem.
should have known.
Yeah. So it's not a problem. I mean, you've always earned more than me.
Yes.
So he thinks that it's been like that.
Yeah.
But my question is, did she even know?
Okay, maybe he was assuming.
Maybe
That's
he was
what you
assuming that, oh, I know you're a banker and I'm a pastor, I take this. I have an idea how much you take. And so, but she may also be, so the question is that if she doesn't see him to have enough money to respect him, why then did she marry him? And that's why I'm saying she might have even married him with certain expectations, and then she goes in and those expectations are not met.
Right.
And then she gets frustrated.
Right.
Now, I'm just trying to hold brief for her. I mean, as in, I should find an excuse for her to do what she's doing.
Right,
And
right. For it to make sense,
that's
right?
why I'm saying all these.
For it to make sense, right?
Exactly.
I get where you're coming from.
I think I agree.
Right. Yeah. Guys, Daniel, if you can hear me. Daniel, can you hear me? Gifty, can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? Okay, I don't think they can hear us. Let's continue with
that.
Who can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Then I was asking, Daniel, if you can hear me, I was asking, what do you think? Is it money? What could make a woman behave in such a manner?
Yeah, I believe the money aspect could play a role in this because, I mean, you would wonder, I mean, what would cause such a problem like this for, I mean, a wife to disrespect the husband in such a manner? And I think that Doc was actually really pointing out some of these issues. Money could be a factor. I believe money could be a factor because when a woman feels she's the only one responsible in providing for the family, I mean, there's this notion outside that it's the man who provides. So if you're not providing, then it begins to cause a bit of problem in the marriage. And I realize that that can be a really strong point in all this. But I mean, for me, I was thinking that, I mean, for pastors, those who do, I don't know whether a pastor from the Adventist faith, but we know that some of our pastors, when they begin, what do you call it, their service in ministry, they don't really earn much. And I'm sure that before they got married, I mean, that conversation would have rolled out. Or maybe there were some expectations that the pastor might have, I mean, raised in the beginning of the relationship leading up to the marriage, making the woman think that they will live comfortably. Maybe they will get certain things, necessities taken care of as a pastor. But maybe after they got married, it wasn't so. So that could actually play a strong factor. And I think that they really need to sit down and have a discussion about it.
Right. Thank you, Daniel. Gifty, if you can hear me. What do you think is making this woman behave this way? Pastor has mentioned unmet expectations. Mrs. Nai has spoken about maybe finances, what have you. What do you think is making this woman behave this way?
Okay, so to me, I don't really think the salary issue comes in because the lady knew how much the guy was earning before she even agreed. Okay, although we can't dispute the fact that other things may come into play. As you grow, now your expectations and your needs changes. So every time, if you don't visit the reason for your engagement previously, you may be taking things for granted. But I don't really think it's money because if you earn less, but as a man, you are able to bring other things to the marriage table, then I think it should be enough. But looking at the story, it looks like the man's confidence level is gone because, like, the woman is not, bringing in some kind of attitude that is supposed to be expected. So, both have issues. So, like, they're not talking about it. They have issues and it's trending, issues trending. So, it's not necessarily about money, but the other factors that the man is supposed to bring up. Your confidence level, the other things that makes a man the head of the family, I think the man is also losing it. I'm not going to blame it all to the lady, but I think the man is also losing that kind of character that a man should be able to put up in a marriage.
Right. Okay, then I'll speak to Kofi and take his view on this.
Yeah, I think the problem here has to do with the circumstances of which they met. You see, if he happens to be an Adventist pastor or any other pastor, they say, our mothers and fathers, when these young theologians graduate from school, they all want their daughters to get married to these people. So that titles of Mami can also come into their family. So that has to do with that. And the other thing too has to do with desperation, maybe on the part of the woman or on the part of the pastor. Regardless, like I said from the beginning, that it has to be you have to be prepared to enter into this institution called marriage. Some of us haven't entered yet too, but we can't speak much about it. But it also lies on communication. Communicating is very, very key. When you study business, you'll tell that it's the heart of every organization, every institution. And I believe marriage is also an institution. And it's not a double institution, one way. Once you go, you can't come back. So if you don't communicate and you don't cite yourself what you enter into this thing called marriage, you will face all sort of problems on your way. And I believe it has to do with how they met, whether it was arranged or out of desperation.
Right. I get you, Kofi. Abajua, please let me take your view on what could possibly be making the woman do this.
I think that women are sometimes funny. You know, women communicate in a lot of ways that men do not understand. I'm a woman and I know what I'm talking about. We are funny because sometimes there's something present that we really need to talk about, yet we act in different ways just to let the man know that we are expressing our discomfort. But I believe there's something more to it. It's not about the finances.
Okay.
It could be that maybe her husband has brought out a comment about the job that she is into as a banker. It could be anything that the husband could have done that she is keeping up to, she is holding on to. I'm not sure it's just about the finances. It's not just about the man getting less than her. It's something she's trying to communicate, but she's not communicating it in the right way.
Right. Okay. So you guys, we've obviously heard different opinions from our people at home and from our panelists in the studio. We'd have to go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at external family members' involvement in marriages. Mother-in-laws, father-in-laws, ekumas, and akuntes. So look at that right after this break. Do not go anywhere. This is RealTalk. We'll be right back.
Nyameba, se emre bi wo ho a esese ye bompa ye a. Woni me ya adwen se eye sabre. Esan se wa wie emre mu, enime pii na ekoso, ewo ya brabo mu, ene ye mfie mu, ene ye monten so. Na Awurade se, waka wo Jeremiah 33 verse 3 say, "Sufre me na mejo so." Na de ye nika wo mu ni se wo say, "Meka wo ahintasem." Menua ya wade bia enwumre no no otwe pepepe ye de maye mompa ye adwumadie ebro eno nti hia me e wo Hope TV na abedwefo betena se na wani gisem awowo wadanse awowo wo de aba na ya de Awurade ase na afenso so wahomete sem bibia hawo a wo pese bo hompa ye no eno so na wo de aba abedwafo he no bebo mpa ye eno twam a Hope TV asiesie nipa e wodam a e bompa ye e ma wona ode won hawo aba nyame nhyiraw se wo behia me Awurade nka wo.
If my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves. As a soldier of the cross, you must take instructions from your commander-in-chief. You must live the way he wants to live his life. For the next 13 weeks, we'll go through the series, In His Identity I Stand. By the end of the series, we will identify who God's people are, what qualifies them to be his people, and the privileges of being God's people.
Soldier of the Cross, showing this and every Sunday at 7:30 p.m.
Back from that quick break, we are still looking at the story of our pastor who has been married for just 8 months. and he's going through a lot of trouble. He says his wife wakes up, cooks, eats alone, makes sure the food is finished, goes to work, and he has nothing to eat. He says he helps around at home. He cleans, he washes dishes, he cooks when he has the money to do that. And when she comes back from where she eats it, but she doesn't give him food. He does not understand why this is happening in this very young marriage. And another issue he has is that his wife tells her family any misunderstanding they have, any arguments they have. And the family even calls him to tell him their peace of mind, blast him, whatever. So now, we are still discussing the story. I have so many comments on Facebook and YouTube that I would like to read. This is from Nanaya Frema. Nanaya says, you shouldn't have married from that profession. A pastor should marry someone who will get time for him and the family. At first, pastors were only marrying bakers. They were bosses of themselves. But now they want elegant women. So it always ends them in tears. He should pray seriously to God for directions. Florence replied and told Nana that I strongly agree with you. It's like a nurse marrying a nurse, always running shifts. Okay. This is from McDonald Samuel, who says, I was facing the same thing after I got married to my wife, but I believe prayer is the key. Consult another man of God and tell him what you have been going through. All right. Desmond Opoku says, our pastors are really suffering. If I am the pastor, I won't die because of worry. I'd rather live so that I live longer, because pain and sadness also kills. Okay. Jennifer says, I am not surprised at all. Waiting Musa no see, waiting Musa no they see forget. Pastors these days choose their partners after random sampling from different women. Since they have to choose from the lot, they tend to choose based on body physique, career, tribe, occupation, and class instead of praying for God's direction. An Adventist pastor dumped a friend because he claims he fancies nurses. But she's not a nurse. Just imagine this. I don't pity the pastor at all. He deserves this and more. I won't be surprised if he at one point disappointed a lady who loved him to marry this lady. Until they allow God to decide for them, they will continue to suffer like this. Jennifer, this one is like you're taking it personal. Thank you, Jennifer. Really interesting. Osei Cranton says, a man, for that matter, a husband must be respected at all times in all circumstances, especially by his wife. The marriage breaks down when there is lack of respect. Pastor, kindly express yourself to your wife, and if she doesn't change, just advise yourself. Don't die or commit suicide. And let me take this one, then I'll go to YouTube. The pastor is just saying his side of the story. You said you only eat when you have money to cook. We shouldn't be like that. So please seek another work or job when this is not helping you. I don't think the pastor is an Adventist. For all you know, he doesn't have any church to lead. Okay. The comments are not funny at all. Okay, from YouTube, I have this from Sam. Sam is sending us this from Kumasi. He says, this is not a big issue. Tell the pastor to pray to God, because if it happens to me, the pastor will say I should pray to God. Pearson Sabla says, I really think it's not only food the woman is not giving the husband, but sex, companionship, respect. Naturally, women can't stand supporting husbands for long. The marriage had high expectations. Ruth Yeboah says, just 8 months of married. I think there's more to the story that both of them are not coming up with. The Nosofo needs to do fasting and prayers seriously. That's his cross to bear.
He's already fasting.
He's already fasted. Yes, because he's not eating. He's not eating.
I know, right?
Okay, guys, this is a serious issue. But one thing he mentioned, he said, anytime they have a misunderstanding, any misunderstanding, she goes to tell her parents. She goes to tell her family. And after work, too, she doesn't come home. She goes to stay there. Then she comes home at a time that probably he's asleep, so that he doesn't ask her about food or anything. And the family even calls him sometimes. And they always support him. Please, external family members.
Support him or her?
They support her.
Yes,
they support their family members.
Yes. External family members involving themselves in marriages and relationships. Please, let's talk about that. Doctor.
Well, let me say, we can't do away with external families.
Right.
Especially in our setting. Marriage is a union of two families. Even though it is two individuals from these families. And so my family and my wife's family join together when there is marriage.
Right.
However, when it has to do with dealing with an issue in the marriage, our external family members should allow the two who are in the marriage to make decisions. Whatever they bring are suggestions for those who are in the marriage to decide.
Okay.
Now, if my sister or my brother or my daughter gives me a complaint about what the husband is doing, that is only her side of the story. To be fair, I would have to hear the other side.
Right.
And so if I am a family member, say I'm an older person, and my sister calls me or my sister tells me, I don't call him to blast him or to insult him because I believe what my sister said. And so what the family is doing is outright wrong.
Right.
What I should probably do is to find a nice way of hearing his side of the story, so that we can solve the issues together. The nutshell is that we don't take external family members completely out.
Okay.
But their involvement should be checked.
Should be checked.
Otherwise, it would cause a lot of problems.
Right. Their involvement should be checked. Or wahala. Alubia, a commence and a contest and a so what should they leave us to enjoy our marriage?
Did they actually go through counseling?
The pastor and the wife?
Yes.
No, honestly, I doubt.
Oh, so for Pana,
so is it done?
I doubt if they did. Because, if they did, for example, and if they did it well, they would have talked about even their finances.
Yes.
Ahead of the marriage.
Yes.
Because during the part of the counseling session, you should be discussing how your finances will be handled in the marriage. And there's nothing like that in this one. You talk about, for example, the roles in the home. Who does what? And of course, I'm not a part of those who believe that it is a woman's work to cook. I don't believe that. And I don't also believe that it is only the man's work to pay. Even though some people believe that.
Yes, some people do.
This woman may even be a believer of the fact that my money is mine and yours is ours.
Our money.
Is that not how it's supposed to be?
Hey, you have a believer.
Okay. Well, no, when it comes to finances, I would say there is no hard and fast rule as to this is how we should be. Whatever works for the couple, they should. So when I'm counseling a couple, I let them know there are different models. Choose what works for you.
Thank you. Arubia, Aso.
So you've come back to me.
Yes, I want to hear your take on that. So, because I know you have amazing Aso. So
yes, I do.
Yeah,
if I'm supposed to talk about this, I'm not sure we're going to end because, like you said, I'm really blessed. But this is not about me. This is about the lady, and I don't think she's ready for marriage. Because looking at the story, looking at what is going on and what she's doing, on top of it, you carry whatever issues are in your marriage to, your parents or your siblings.
Yes.
I don't think she understands what marriage is. I don't think she's ready to, stay in the marriage. Because if you are, these things you won't do.
Okay.
You understand? And I also agree with what Pastor said, that it should be between the two of them. You don't carry whatever issues. And when it comes to our parents too, and our sister-in-laws, our brother-in-laws, there should be a limit. You understand? So in as much as they shouldn't poke their noses in their daughters or their sisters' issues, their sister shouldn't also carry issues out.
Yes. She said there should be a limit. Who says that limit? It is how
the couple.
It is how you sell your husband to them.
Right. Yes. Because for the father to pick a phone and call and say his mind.
I started by talking about the fact that there is no respect.
Yeah.
Right.
So if I should present my husband
anyhow,
exactly. He will be treated anyhow.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what she does. She closes from when, in the first place, as a banker, she closes late.
Yeah. Right.
And doesn't go home. goes to the parents, sits there, watches TV, eats, does everything, and then goes home only to sleep.
Let me just correct this. Not all bankers close late.
Oh, okay, that's true.
Yes.
That's true, depending on the department. Yeah. So you see, the point is that she is married, but is still living a single life. So the question is, why did she even get married?
Exactly.
Like
for the prestige, for whatever.
She's not ready.
And naturally, I'm sorry that I'm talking too much. Naturally,
I can see you're very passionate about this topic.
Naturally, family would support family.
True.
Naturally.
True.
All right. So while we are saying this, we know that if I am to separate a fight between my sister and my brother-in-law, I might be more inclined to my sister. Yeah. But it's only fair to be fair.
Right.
All right. But it's the woman who would present him right
to the family
for them to treat him the way they do.
The woman should present him right. Guys, my home people, my Takrady, my Sunyani, and my Accra people. I will start with Gifty. External family involvement in marriages. What's your take on it?
Okay, so even for me, I think external influence can be totally wrong, as Pastor Andor said. Yeah, but as a couple, you need to.
Gifty, I can't hear you. I don't know if it's from my end or it's from your end. Gifty, can you hear me? Okay, I think we are having some technical issues with Gifty's connection. So I'll go to Kofi. Kofi, if you can hear me, I'd like to take your take on external family members' involvement in marriages. Kofi, can you hear me?
You can't also.
Okay, Daniel, can you hear me? I don't know if it's the weather, but today my
the issue was
oh, she's back.
Gifty, I think I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think I can hear you now. Yeah, let me take your piece. Are you gone again?
Hello, Avi.
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so it's not solely, but the problem mainly is with the pastor. He's not mature in any way. He's not mature.
Okay, no. Gifty is not on the pastor's side. She feels like the problem is solely from the pastor.
No.
So you think he's allowing these things to happen, huh?
He's allowing this because already society paints it, okay, that the man should be the provider, but fine. 21st century, nobody's thinking that now women get education. Most women, about 40% of women currently even get paid more than their husband. But if you are not a money maker, of which you are not, we all know that you are not, you should be able to put some kind of things on. I'm a banker myself.
Okay,
then
yeah.
I can access, yes, and I can tell you the stress that goes on, like in working with the bank. There's so much stress, whether a frontliner, a backdoor person, there is so much stress. Okay, so when you come back home and you're not able to get someone to sit you down to share your stress with. Okay, someone to bring something extra. Okay, it's like you, a woman, you break out, you feel like, okay, so at least even the ideal way is that the man is supposed to be out there stressing himself. Okay, but here's I'm having a reversal. I'm the one stressing myself and doing all the job. Okay, and so why don't I? And when I get something little, why should I even intend to spend it on my husband? So therefore, I'll cook and I'll eat it. If he gets money and he cooks and I eat, I have the right to eat because I'm sure there's a notion that a man.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
To me, that's what I'm thinking. So a man should be something more than a homemaker. To be able to set up, get involved, be interested in your wife's work. I mean, provide that kind of comfort. So it's not about the money at all. I don't think the problem is the money, but the man not being able to be that kind of all involving around the wife. Okay, no matter what the wife is, you are a pastor. I mean, you communicate with God and other things. You might have come in contact with a lot of people who need help and might have contacted you and all. So you should be able to at least master up and man up with some kind of virtues that should be able to. After all, you are a man. So
let her give us some examples because I really don't
I keep on saying that real talk is just like having a conversation in the house. Everybody has different opinions.
No,
from Adubia, what is your displeasure? Example of what?
Let her give us examples of the things that the guy has to do, because you are saying Gifty is saying that when she comes home, he has to be able to do what? I think she mentioned something.
She's saying the lady is not the money.
The lady is not coming home.
She's coming home, but she's coming late.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's coming.
She's not coming. So how do you expect the guy to react to something like this? He's got feelings also. Let's not forget.
You have a rebuttal.
Yeah, what she's saying is actually,
okay,
you know,
so
when we started with okay, when we started,
Gift, Pastor, I'm coming. Gifty, were you saying something?
Yeah, so about what Adubia is saying, okay, so you see, this is the point that I'm coming from, okay? I'm not like you, the man, you are not ever. You provide something, and he even mentioned that I cook when I have money. You said that sort of thing. So it's like, as a man, you went in to marry the woman. You should you might have thought about something like, I mean, a whole marriage concept before you went in to marry the woman. Okay, so you might have, as Pastor rightly said, you might have talked about your finances. Maybe at the end of every month, okay, so this how much I'm bringing to the table. I know you earn something more than me, but okay, this how much I'll be able to contribute at the end of every month. That's how much that you can also meet up so that we can have a comfortable home. You don't provide everything, but it's like, I even doubt if his money or his salary issues are transparent to one. So if you're not cooking, then I assume that you don't have money. If you are cooking, then I assume that you have money. It's totally wrong, and I feel that as a man, okay, you are a pastor and I'm a banker, but nothing prevents you from at least getting to read something about self-development, getting to read something about stress. I mean, that you've seen that your wife is running away to family. Have that conversation. Come up, okay, call your wife. So this is the issue, honey. I can see this and this and this things are happening in our home. Okay, what is the problem according to your side? Okay, so we all come. Okay, so at least be able to come and dissipate some of the anger. But it's like you, the pastor, you are freaking out. You are like you don't know, and on top you are calling her for prayers and what? For prayers and what? Morning. It's the pastor is not being serious.
Gifty, calm down and let me take Daniel's comment on this. Daniel, please, while Gifty calms down, tell me external family members' involvement in marriages.
It's very, very interesting. I mean, listening to Gifty, but let me start with the external family issue.
Right.
You know, there's something I always say that you are the PR of your marriage. You know, what you speak outside would definitely paint your marriage. And therefore, if you go out there painting things like making your husband look bad, it also reflects back on you. What are you doing about it? And I know that as Doc said, family would automatically pick your side.
Right.
And that's very, very natural. It would definitely happen
today.
And then pick your side. But go out there and then, you know, lie to you or and all that. And the moment you do that, you begin to disrespect the man, and it doesn't bring blessings. I don't believe it brings blessings. It brings you. That's my wife said. She doesn't really understand the concept of marriage, but she needs to sit down, because I'm asking myself so many questions. That's why I didn't go through premarital counseling, because some of these things are all addressed as premarital counseling. Now you deal with your external family and all that. You have family, but you can't just go out there and then just pour out your sentiments. Because for me, I'm telling you, if you keep coming to my father's house like this, my father will sack you one day. You can come to his marital room and come eating every time, and then you leave at the same time you want. My father at a point will sack you.
Right. Yes. Let me take Abuajoa.
My father will sack you.
Oh, sorry, Daniel, continue.
Yeah, well, I was saying that.
Okay. Looks like that is what I sacked you. Yes. So, Abuajoa, can you hear me?
Yes, I did. Oh, won't hear me.
Yeah. Abuajoa, can you hear me? Okay, Abuajoa can't hear me. Kofi?
Hello?
Yeah, Wajo can hear me. Okay.
Hello, Evie.
Yes, yes. I was asking you to tell me about your opinion on external family members' involvement in marriages.
Okay, I think I side with Gifty.
Okay.
It's like we are hearing the story from one side, from the side of the pastor. So we are assuming he is the righteous one. Okay. And then the lady is the evil one here. We are not the side of this from here as well. And it would have been beneficial for patients. Since we don't, we would have to work around it. I think it is good, if I should put it, for the lady to go out and think up, what is the man not doing? What is the displeasure that the lady is always talking about to her family? Is something the man doing that he hasn't realized he's doing that is annoying his wife? The man didn't come out very well with something. He is thinking that it's because he's earning low. But that is not the point here. It's something he is not doing well. The lady is trying to out the way she is. So I believe members' involvement, not to say anything that happens in your marriage, you go out there and then talk to everyone about your problems. Because as Gifty mentioned, if things turn around and then things wouldn't work out, because the respect they have for your husband would have been lost and you can't regain it back. So it's very important that in marriage, we don't give it everything out. You don't just go out and be talking about your marriage anywhere, like your friends have for your spouse. And it's bad in that regard for the lady to do that. But I think there's something the pastor is not doing
right. Right. Kofi, if you can hear me, quickly give me your opinion. Whenever we are having very interesting conversation, the time just flies. So we have some few minutes to go. So Kofi, tell me what you think.
I really think it's a part of I agree with the two ladies that it's a part of the practice. Seriously. As a man, I believe I've attended various marriage ceremonies where when it comes to the latter part of it, they give you advice on how you should maintain your house and know that. I'm talking about.
Okay, Kofi's line is giving him some challenges. Our time is far. Pastor, I just want you to speak on sharing some same interest in marriages, because this one that they can't agree on morning
devotion. They can't agree on anything.
Yes.
They can't even attend morning devotion.
Yes, and then just quickly tell us what he should do.
Okay, the point is that marriage has to do with two agreeing.
Right.
All right, Amos 3:3. Two cannot work together except they agree. So if we cannot agree on anything, it becomes difficult. He says that he's not ready for divorce because he's a Christian. He doesn't believe in divorce. Yes. And even there is, no biblical basis for divorce. Right. In this case, we can talk about abuse here and there. Right. But you see, like the lady said, we are hearing only one side of the story. True. The question is, what did he do to warrant that? We tried some guesses. Whatever guesses they are only our guesses. But at least one thing that I can tell for sure is that the two find it difficult to agree. Yeah. And so there is an issue of communication. Right. As the man, biblically we will say he is the head of the family. Right. So he should show leadership. She wouldn't come for morning devotion. It doesn't stop you from praying. Go ahead and pray. If there is a way you can do, you can sit down and talk, then he should arrange for them to sit down and talk. I mean, let her know. I mean, once upon a time, you sat down and talked and agreed to get married. Sure. So it is possible for them to sit down and talk. Right. My wife, this is what you have been doing, and it's been hurting me. And then hear what she has to say. Sometimes it can be a way of punishing you for something you've done. Right. All right. If that doesn't work, after prayerfully scheduling a time, sitting down, talking. If that doesn't work, then I will recommend, if they had a counselor before marriage, then he should probably involve that counselor. Okay. Or somebody that the lady will respect. All right. So, but this should be after he's taken the first step of dialogue. If that fails, get somebody, maybe your counselor or somebody that you know she would respect. Right. And then he can serve as a referee for the two of you to settle the issue. And I think these are the things that I would suggest for him.
They should do. Adobia.
Me, I don't like the way everybody is on the guy.
Okay.
Yes, because she's also in the marriage. And I'm quite sure that she's also experiencing certain things. What stops her from also saying, my husband, I've noticed that you're doing this, you are doing that. You see, it's a collective thing. So when someone tries to, okay, I'm not saying someone, when we try to push the whole blame on the man, I think we are not being fair. Right. Because like Pastor said, they are in together, they have to agree. Unfortunately, they are not. So does it mean that whatever is going on, she's not feeling it? If she is not, I would go back to what I said. She's not ready.
She's not ready. She's not ready.
Guys. And so it means, I mean, we can't say it is him at all. Yeah. No, we can't say it is him.
Okay, okay. Guys at home, can you hear me? Gifty, can you hear me? Okay, let me just take some few comments and then. So I still have comments coming in from you guys. Let me take a few and then we would, great. This one is from Intim. Intim is saying that I think the pastor should pray about the marriage and not think about divorce and should also seek for some good advice from other pastors. And then David is saying that I think our counselors have a lot of work to do. Many of the marriages break before the marriage is announced. The man made a wrong choice and it has become the neck instead of the head. He should inform the pastors who counseled him for advice. If they don't have children, I think they should separate. Okay. David Obin says all his problem is about his finances. It seems the lady is the breadwinner of the house. She has taken much of the man's responsibilities. The pastor should add another job to the pastoral work. Okay. Kenneth is saying, Pastor, please, this your trial is a great challenge to you. Keep cool, ride on God. God is watching. Ebusi says, I used to tell some of my male friends that I'll not marry a guy that I earn more than. From the right up there, one can assume the pastor expects his wife to play certain roles which aren't hers. And as women as we are, she will get frustrated with time and start acting up. It takes God and patience to overlook these things. God help you. Amen. Richmond Nyako says, we don't have pastor in marriage. Oh, marriage is marriage. I believed you married an unbeliever because unbelievers don't care about divorce. Please, what I will say is do your part and continue praying. I believe God will solve it for you. Wow, today's comments are a lot. I'm trying to read as many as I can, but our time is up. And so I'd say that it's been an amazing discussion. I don't know where the time went. 1 minute was 8, the next minute is 9. Thank you guys so much for coming. Doctor, it's been an amazing discussion
Thanks
with
for having me.
I hope when I go, you come.
I will.
Thank you so much. Adobia, whoever is telling you are coming on too much, you're not coming on too much.
Mr. Barnabas Bidiaba, Kofi Achina.
Please, we put you on blast. She's not coming. Thank you so much for coming to the
Probably the next time I'm coming, I should come with him.
Yes, maybe you should. Maybe you should. Maybe you should. Guys from home, I had Kofi Yeboah, I had Mrs. Abadra Bano, who represented all the way from Sunyani Agape SDA Church. Thank you guys so much for coming. You made the discussion an interesting one. We had a little bit of technical problems, but these things happen. Gifty, all the way from Tadi, you represented your people. You spoke your mind. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Daniel, another person I can lean on whenever I need. It's been amazing. Thank you guys so much. And we'll come your way same time next week. I always say it's always an amazing time coming your way every Wednesday. Expect me same time next week right here on Hope TV at 8 p.m. with another amazing story and another amazing panelist to help me discuss it. Enjoy the rest of the program. I'll be back same time next week. Have a lovely evening. Bye.
Hope Channel, changing lives.
We thank God for another evening. He's been so good to us throughout the day. We can only say thank you to our Heavenly Father. But it's time once again for us to listen to Him as He speaks to us and we meditate on His word throughout this night. Shall we take our Bibles and we'll turn to the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 1, and we'll be reading verse 19. 1 Samuel, chapter 1, verse